running out of flowering subjects this time of year, but we have a few for today. And the first one is everybody's favorite, ragweed or common ragweed. The word rag is slang for torment, and this is a plant that torments people with hay fever. It blooms the same time as our native goldenrods, like Canada goldenrod, which we saw a couple weeks ago. So, and that's a very showy flower, so people blame goldenrod for their hay fever. Goldenrod pollen it's too heavy, it can't blow in the wind. This is the culprit, and you hardly even notice that it's in flower. But this is it, and this one plant can produce several million pollen grains that are blown in the wind, and that will torment people with hay fever. It's actually a native plant, and it has the word weed in it. We think of weeds as being non-native, but this is like some other, there's some other native plants that have the word weed in it, and they're not like milkweed, and they can be weedy, and this certainly can be. This is all along the sides of the roads right now. It has these deeply divided leaves, looks to me like a sensitive fern in miniature, but this is everywhere right now, but because it's not showy, you don't think of it as being in flower, and we blame the goldenrods instead. But this is the one that causes hay fever, or at least it's the main culprit, ragweed. This is common Sowthistle, yet another plant in the aster family. And it looks kind of like a dandelion that is mutated somehow. It's got a dandelion-like flower, a dandelion-like seed head, but it's Sowthistle, not dandelion, and this gets to be 4 or 5 feet tall. But yellow flowers late in the season. It's a weed, non-native, and it can be troublesome sometimes in terms of its numbers. It likes to disturb areas like most weeds. It has these fairly long clasping leaves. The leaves clasp right under the stem, and they can get to be 4, 5, 6 inches long, a little prickly on the edges, not sharp, but you can feel it. But this is a common weed up in this neck of the woods, and again another plant in this huge family called the aster family, common Sowthistle. I like showing people this time of year that the buds for next year, and this is sugar maple by the way, the buds for next year are already formed. People often think when they see buds swelling on trees and shrubs in the spring that's when they form. They're formed the previous summer. Next year's growth is already predetermined in this bud. So soon after the leaves mature, buds form for the next year already. So here we have sugar maple with this year's terminal buds, and then back here the axillary buds. And then over here on the plant next to it, this is round-leaf dogwood, a very common shrub up in Door County. And here we have the buds already formed for next year. So they're here already with next year's growth already predetermined in that bud. Here's a plant we saw in flower back in May. This is Baneberry or doll's eyes, or white Baneberry, because there's also a red one. But here it is with its fruits formed. Again, back in spring it was a small, kind of loose, fragrant, kind of lemony fragrant white flower cluster, and those flowers develop these porcelain-like fruits that at one time looked like to somebody a doll's eye, so that's how it got one of its names, doll's eye. But these berries are deadly poisonous. This is one of the plants that could potentially kill someone if they ate some of the berries. And there's a red one too. We don't see that much up here. We have mostly white baneberry up here. But the red one, of course, to especially a child, would be much more appealing than a white berry. So this one you have to be careful with, especially if it's in your garden, and it's a great garden plant. I've got some at home. But again, here it is in fruit, Baneberry or Dow's Eye. Our last plant for today is common tansy, or just plain tansy. I've also heard it called tansy ragwort. Another plant in the very well represented aster family in mid to late summer. These small, maybe a quarter to a half an inch across, button-like flowers, bright yellow, very pretty. This fern-like foliage, and if you were here you could crush it and smell kind of an herbal, a very pleasant herbal smell. It gets to be 3-4 feet tall, these loose clusters of flowers. Not native. You see some people consider it invasive. I don't think it's considered an invasive up in northern Door County. This, I think, is the only patch that we have at the clearing down on the western edge of the Homestead Meadow. People who dry flowers for dried flower arrangements love this. You can cut it right now, hang it in loose clusters upside down in a dry, dark place, and it'll dry and preserve this color. So tansy or tansy ragwort.